Hey guys, gals, and Legionnaires, Rycon here, and welcome back to what I hope will be another fantastic series. Now, don't click away just yet. Cataclysm isn't going to be everyone's type of game, but I invite you to take a look, stay around for a while, and absorb some of its depth, because for a roguelike, it has got more depth than any modern AAA game that I'm playing or have played, and I have to admit that this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. So with that said, we're going to be jumping into a little bit of setup. So I have an annotation here that you can click that will make you just skip to the good part, which is us starting the game itself. But if you want to see exactly how you set up the game, the world settings I'm using, and the character creation, stick around, stay a while. But without further ado, let's jump on in. So the first thing we are going to be doing is starting this new little application that has come out. So this is the Cataclysm launcher. Really handy because it manages your saves, it manages all the mods, it manages updates. It takes a hell of a lot of the hassle out of running a game like this and just makes it so much more easier. So I have left the link to that download in the description for you all to grab. So if we're having a look here, we can see that I actually do have a world already. We are going to be deleting all of those, but first we're going to do here is update the game. So the last update was 7 hours ago. We can refresh because there are a lot of updates. They happen all the time. Now don't fret, you can update and you aren't going to... we are actually at the latest version, but we are going to update the game just in case. But yeah, so you don't really have to worry about losing saves or anything like that when you're updating. It's all managed really well. And most of the time, they're just little changes. They're small little changes because this is an open source game. It's being made by hundreds of people over the years, have given their time and effort to put this together, and it's an incredible community project. And if you are into game development or anything like that, I wholeheartedly implore you to check out the forum and perhaps get involved, because it's a fun project if you do have those skills. So while this is updating, we can have a little bit of a look around. We can see that there is a sound pack menu here. For a lot of people, installing the sound packs can be a bit of a pain in the ass, so this just makes it so much more easier. So whichever sound pack you want, I highly recommend Chest Holes, because that's, well, it has all the sounds in it. You're going to want to install that one. We already have this installed. We can see in the repository here that Chest Hole is there, so it's all ready for us to select once we get into the game. And there are other settings here that you can play around with if you're into that. You can automatically refresh the list if you're trying to, stay up to date all the time. I tend to update every week or so, but actually, in saying that, with this now, it's probably going to be more every time that I start up the game. But here we are ready to launch, and so we shall. Now, your game probably won't look like this when you first start up. It'll probably be a much smaller window, but you can play around with a lot of the different settings to change that to make it full screen. And I've got it set up to being pretty much full HD, so 1080. There is a small change though. So if we just dive into the options here, you'll be able to see kind of what I have got set. I haven't really played around with anything here under the general tab. We can see that we do have chest hole selected. Let's see, the sound volume seems to be okay at the moment. I may have to play around with it, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, all of these are pretty much stock standard, but if we jump through the menu a little bit more, some of the commands can be difficult to learn at first, but once you've learnt them, navigating through the menus and everything, it's an absolute breeze. But we can see that I've got Celsius and kilometers per hour because I'm from New Zealand, and that's just how we do things here. And I have got military as our time format, but I'm actually just going to change that to 24 hours. Other than that, everything here should be pretty much the same. The main difference here, what we're wanting to have a look at, is the graphics. So for terminal width, I've got 240, and for terminal height, I've got 67. We can see that's 1920, but here that's 1072, because if we go up, it's actually 1088. And so it's a little bit bigger than what a 1080 screen would be, and so there's some weird squishing that could go on. So if you're running at full screen, I recommend that you change that. But actually, I can see now that we are actually running it windowed borderless, which is fine, and it seems to be working just right. So let's create a world. So we're going to jump back out into the main menu. We haven't actually changed anything here, I don't believe. So we're going to go into world. which is W. So it's just the capital W that you need to pay attention to there. I'm just tagging my microphone. So all of these do matter. So load is the lowercase a, and this is a uppercase W. So you just have to watch out for those little things and you'll be able to navigate fine. You could also just use the arrow keys and the enter, but sometimes I find it a little bit fast just to use those quick keys. First of all, we are going to delete this little test world that I have here, and it's gone. Now we are going to create our world. So when we first start creating our world here, we can see that we can choose a number of different mods. I'm going to go for the ones that I think work well together and seem to be relatively well balanced. So we're going to go through here, we're going to grab Ice Coon's weapons pack, which we have played with before. We're going to go for the medieval and historic content. We're going to go for the survival tools. The mythological replicas, I'm not sure, because I think if I came across anything, I'd be far too tempted to use it, and it might be ridiculously overpowered. No, we're going to leave it off. We are going to play around with the reimagining. PK has done a big rebalancing mod as well, which changes a lot of the creatures. We're just going to play with the kind of vanilla creatures, you could say. Do we want to get animatronic monsters? So these are essentially animatronic monsters from Five Nights at Freddy's. And I don't know whether or not we want to be fighting them or not. We're going to give it a miss for this one, but we are going to go for more locations. And we're going to go for tall buildings. Sorry, my camera was just clicking over there for a second. We are also going to grab boats, folding parts pack, tanks. No, I don't think we are going to grab tanks. And the reason being, they seem to be super prevalent last time we played. They seem to be everywhere. And they had a lot of really good ammunition in them. Very expensive ammunition as well. So, I don't know. Felt a little cheap. So we're going to leave it off, but we are going to be chucking on Arcana and magic items, just for a little bit of a twist. Now, we aren't going to be starting off as a magic using character, but I like the idea that there's a little bit more mystery to the world, and it's a pretty cool mod from what I've seen and tested so far. Now, the world gen options. I am having an internal debate with myself about this here, the Wander spawns. We've played with them before and they made Noah's life last time an absolute living hell. I really don't know whether or not we want to use them, because it can make the game somewhat unplayable. I think for this run, we're gonna turn them off. But to kind of make up for that, we are going to up a few other sizes. We're going to change the size of cities to 6, and I'm also tempted to increase the monster spawn rate, and I'm actually struggling to find it right now. Density of monster spawns, right? We're going to go to 1.5, and it might seem small, but it can make a really big difference. And so what this means for us is that those big huge hordes that kept on spawning last time, they won't be coming after us, but the cities will still be populated with a lot of dead. So it's still going to be a hard time for us, but it does actually give us the chance to clear areas out and make them somewhat more safer, which I'm cool with that. Now we do have static NPCs, we have random NPCs as well, and we have mutations by radiation and experimental Z levels turned on. So I'm just going to scroll through these one last time just so you can play along with the same options if you so desire. And then we're going to go along to confirmation. We need to give it a name. Shade Hill. Shade Hill isn't so bad. You know what, we're going to go with Shade Hill. I like the random factor of this, and Shade Hill, okay, we'll make it work. So, we've done that. Now comes the difficult part. Making the character. Now I do have a character in mind. This character may not live for very long. I'll just put it out there, because the start that I have in mind is quite a difficult one indeed. So we're going to jump in, we're going to create custom character, and we're just going to have a little bit of a load here. Now this is new as of, well, the last series, we can choose different pools for our points to go in. The standard just seems to be multiple pools, and I kind of like it. It works. So we're just going to stick with that, and we're going to hit the arrow key to go across. Now we are going to choose our scenario. We can see under here we have a number of different scenarios to choose from, a whole range of them, and some great new ones as well. And we can actually see like Seeker of the Arcane. That's from the Arcane mod. But the one that we are going to be going for, as you might have been able to tell from the title of this episode, is Prison Break. We are going to be a convict. Quite different from our last playthrough when we were playing through as Noah Hedges, and she was a... Noah Hedges? Yes, Noah Hedges. She was a deputy and in turn became the sheriff of the town. So I'd like to think that maybe this Shade Hill is maybe a town or two over, and perhaps Noah was the one who incarcerated our character here. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see if we make or meet a similar fate to Noah. I honestly don't know if we will survive the first 10 minutes, so because this scenario is very difficult. Very, very difficult. I have done a few tests so that I'm not just going to fail right away, but depending on the random nature of this game, you can get a very, very, very bad start and have it all go terribly wrong, which might just happen. Okay, so we can see that by starting off as a convict, we have a few skills that come with that, melee being one of them. In our possession, we have briefs, a striped shirt, striped pants, and a glass shiv. That glass shiv is good for one attack, and that's it. It's pretty much useless. But you can do some basic butchering with it, but its butchering quality is minus 18 or something crazy like that, so it takes you a very long time to butcher anything, so it's really not much of a help. But nevertheless, we're going to push on. We are going to go into our traits now. First of all, I'm probably going to be choosing negative traits, so we can see what kind of points we have to play with. Okay. We are going to go with albino. It's going to make being outside during the day a little difficult, but I'm looking for more of a challenge with this character, as you might be able to see from some of the points that I end up picking up. We're also going to go for bad knees. Now, that only gives us 1 point, which isn't amazing, but it's not too much of a negative because we generally don't tend to go over rough terrain. So bushes, hedges, tables, and the rest, we try to avoid those. So I think we'll be okay by choosing that. What is going to be next? What is going to be next? We're a heavy sleeper. 1 point. And it's a good and a bad thing. It means we're more likely to sleep through the night, but it also means we're less likely to wake up as something is about to eat us. So it can be really bad. What else do we have? Well, there is a big one, and we haven't got to it yet. I'm just reading up trying to see what else we actually have available to us. That's the big one that we're going to be going for, and it is going to make the playthrough a lot harder. We're going to be schizophrenic, so that does mean that we will be experiencing hallucinations, and they can be quite frustrating because they seem and look like real monsters. So you might think that you're being chased by something, and it turns out to be a hallucination. Or in my case, where I fired like a whole round of ammunition at something only to find out afterwards that it was just hallucination. So not cool. But it can be controlled with Thorazine, as it says, which is hard to come by though. So it'll kind of give us a goal to try and hunt out some Thorazine so we can try and kind of control these hallucinations. But I think it's just going to give our character a little bit more depth and make the playthrough just that little bit harder. So I'm good for that. Now, I'm not sure what else we want to go with. I think we're going to go with Trigger Happy. And I think that's it, because that actually puts us at, I don't know, we're minus 10, so we could get another 2 negatives, but I think that's enough for now. Okay, so we're going to be going for Cannibal. Yes, very, very different character from nowhere. You might be able to slowly kind of figure out the reasons that this person is in prison. So, cannibal is going to be our first trait we take. High adrenaline would be great. Now, I've only played with high adrenaline once, but it really can save your life. If you get into a situation where you take a lot of damage really quickly, say for example if a Hulk picked you up and threw you against the wall, you get a massive boost in your speed and your strength for a short, kind of period of time, and that'll allow you to get away. Just run for your life and get away, which is the smartest thing to do in that situation. So this could very well save our life one day. Next up, we're going to get Light Step, probably one of my more favorite. What are we going to call these? Bonuses? Pros? Cons? Yeah, my kind of favorite kind of con, or good quality at least. It makes you quieter, so you're going to be less likely to be heard by zombies, and it also makes you less likely to set off traps. So if you accidentally walk very close to mine, we're going to be less likely to actually activate it. So it's good. I recommend it. Masochist is also good because in this I tend to get hit quite a bit at the start. Can help, but I think we're going to pass it up just for now, and we're going to have a look through some of these others. I think Quick is kind of a given. It's probably too good for us to pass up. I'm also going to pick up Skilled Liar just because I feel like it fits in really well with this character. Yeah. And also Spiritual. So the way this works as a bonus for us is that if we study holy texts or other mystical things, they can give us a bonus to our mood. And again, this is more of a role-playing aspect to it rather than an actual total benefit, but it's a place for us to use a point, and I'm okay with that. I think the final one we're going to get here, we actually can pick up another one, or we could actually take one off. We might end up taking Bad Knees off. Because Terrifying, well, I'd like to think that our character will be rather terrifying. So there's a chance that we'll just be able to scare people away, which could be very, very good for us. Okay, let's have a look. Let's take Bad Knees off for now. Yeah. And now we're going to go across to stats. So we have 10 to work with, which is actually quite a lot. Because we haven't put anything as skills yet. Okay, so we're actually pretty well balanced at the moment. Actually, no, I lie. We only have 2 points to work with over here. And then we'll have 8 at the end. Okay, this is a little bit... Alright, okay. So I'm thinking we're probably going to go for around about 9 dexterity, and we're actually going to put the other point into intelligence. I'm almost tempted to take a point away from strength and chuck into perception. I think we're going to do that. Yeah, that is us for now. So we are going to start trying to chuck some points in here, and I'm going to try and chuck them into things that I think would kind of be believable, and things that might be a little bit harder for us to level up right from the start. Mechanics being one of them. In this run, mechanics is... Oh, I've forgotten something. I have to go back. We are going to need that extra point, because there is something that I've missed out that is absolutely crucial in the prison playthrough. Something that I missed. Night vision. And it's going to cost us 2 points. Damn it. Damn it. I also took Psychopath? Did I take that? Or did I... I don't actually even remember clicking on Psychopath. But it makes sense. Yeah, we really need night vision. Like, really need it. Because this playthrough, the start of it, is just impossible without it. So we might actually have to lose these two. I'm okay with keeping Terrifying. Let's see. Actually, we can keep one of them, but we are going to have to take something else for that. So what do we want? Do we want Skilled Liar or Spiritual? I think Skilled Liar is probably going to help us more in the long run. Yeah. Okay, that isn't going to leave us with... Nope, that's actually okay. So we've still got another point here, do we? No. Okay. Just a little bit confused with the point system. Okay, right, so we are back here. Now, mechanics is going to help us out a lot early on. So let's see what we have to work with here. I'd like to get at least 2. Marksmanship would help us overall. I'm going to kind of try and lean this character towards being a ranged character for a change, because Noah was a very, very melee orientated character. In saying that, she did use her pistol quite a bit, but I think we are going to go with ranged on this run. So we're going to chuck a few points into marksman. Actually, probably, maybe, I'm almost going to just chuck 1 in for now. We're definitely going to want 2 points in dodging, because being able to dodge things right at the start is going to be very, very helpful. The 1 point in melee is good, because we won't have any other option at the start. And I'm almost tempted to take a point in trapping as well. And that's going to leave us with 0 points to work with. So that is our character. Now, as for the name, I'm thinking Elliot Wood. Elliot is our, well, somewhat terrifying cannibalistic albino prisoner. Yeah, different, very, very different from Noah. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to save this as a template just in case anything goes wrong with the start of this. And then we're going to dive in. Well, let's do it. We'll see you all once we get inside.